For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated. More often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the E.T. Stand Podcast.
Welcome to the E.T. Stand, the Cronulla Sharks fan podcast that is just quite frankly considering why it exists. Why Sharks? They just seem to find a new way to lose these matches every single time, and I get myself up, and then they just do it to me. I'm your host, David Bolderman. This is the E.T. Stand. I'm joined by Matthew Williams. Goodness me, I didn't mean to bring up that comment. Matty, what can you say?
Should I call that surely we can't lose from here at 28?
I didn't think we could. How did we lose from there?
We could, because we're the dumbest team in the history of the NRL. It is absolutely diabolical how just this team continues to masquerade as professional footballers. I'm sorry, but that was just, I can't say without swearing how I truly feel. I'm sure plenty of other people feel the same way, but just that was it. We beat ourselves, basically. It was a chance to make a statement. My key takeaway out of it was if we did win and look like we would or should, given how we're going, was, hey, the Broncos aren't that great. Don't get carried away. They're not that great. We are horrific. That's all I can say.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking. All right, well, thanks for joining us. The debrief is brought to you by Solve Accounting. If you're frustrated by the numbers and the results that you're looking at, then maybe the guys at Solve Accounting can help you. We're live from my brother's place. I've travelled up here to Pymble to watch it with him. He and I don't get to watch too many Sharks games together. I can see why. Goodness me. What an absolute, just heartbreaking, isn't it? All right, we're here to break down all the key moments and discuss the times and moments within the match with you in the comments. So do please get involved in the comments. Let us know your key moments that you'd like us to chat to specifically from that match. Let's go through it for specific players, the moments at the end. So let's just quickly go through the comments first, Matty, and then we'll talk to the key moments. Gigaplex in the comments says the origami Sharks, they fold when any pressure is applied. The emotional fragility of the Sharks, Matty, I talk about that a lot. Is that the problem?
Not just the emotional fragility, but just ridiculous. Just was it attention or what do you call it? Attention to detail errors, like Ronaldo with that drop, Katoa with that brain fart on halftime, as we can see.
What was he thinking with that?
Who knows? Who knows? Trindle kicking out the whole Atkinson experiment, which goodness knows why.
Oh, actually, so let's talk about.
Let's talk about it all year. We've talked about it all year.
No, but today it was showing, Matty, because like we were on top, and then we start getting knackered because we don't have the extra forward, and we end up putting a player on the field that basically makes no contribution, offers nothing.
He's a guy in the middle that can't shore up the middle, and just it is amateur. It's the whole thing is amateur, and starting to turn off hits, but there's no one else available to coach this side. I don't know if it's definitely attitudinal. You look at the way that they all just stopped when that try that Nico gave up. Nico didn't stand up in the moments that mattered, but neither did the rest of the team. And I think I put on the Discord thing, I was like, Brayley made an error at the end. I was going to say Brayley 3, the rest of them go to Super League because it just wasn't good enough. I mean, you can say AFB, sure, but even when we were on top early, I thought this was looking a bit too easy. We were cutting out their edges, but really not offering too much else. But sure, we're getting through our sets, but still a few kind of unforced errors, a few things led them back into it. And then once Broncos got some ball, our defense couldn't stand up. And because we were gassed, and it wasn't that hot up there. It was 19 degrees. It's 17 degrees in Sydney. It wasn't significantly different. Losing Teague didn't help. But even still, I'm not sure how much of a difference that would have made in the end anyway. And then obviously Nico, we've been talking about what has happened to his defense. Just poor.
Oh, his defense is shocking, Matty. I've got it in my notes. He is like the reason Nico defense bad. Like he was bad.
So many levels, and I thought if we won today, let's say a 28-12, let's say, I don't know, we win 34-22 or something like that, would have papered over some cracks. It didn't solve issues, but a win's a win, move on. But then the true Sharks came out, and I think the Broncos probably played a bit better, maybe played to their potential in that last 20 minutes or so, because I thought the Broncos' defense was very ordinary, to be honest with you.
The Broncos' forwards was ordinary, and we were getting over the top of them. And whilst we had our
Even
Like
still
defense, like I guess it's the
giving-
same thing
so
though, isn't it?
giving
Like
them-
you could
so
say,
gi-
like
but
the defense was we were eating up the meters too easily, and then
they folded as soon as we applied a bit of pressure, moved the ball around. Brayley going in from dummy half, that's indefensible. They folded, but as soon as they got some ball, obviously they got Mam, they've got Walsh. Walsh is on one leg, Haas is on one leg. Obviously, what's his name? Staggs end up showing up. What's his face? I'm not even thinking straight. Talakai out on that edge, and the other players be out on that edge too. But losing a winger for 10 minutes, I mean, there was a sin bin. There was other. You could
it was
blame the referee
stupid
for
sin
several-
bin,
it was
Matty.
stupid.
Get it in the comments, guys. Out of 10, how stupid was that sin bin?
11.
Like,
that's what I put in the Discord chat. I said that was on par with Ronaldo's brain snaps, and I think Williams 2.0 said, or brain farts. Williams 2.0 said, it's not as bad as what Ronaldo's. I'm like, Ronaldo's had a few like, but that was just. Katoa's much better than that. Like, he usually isn't prone to those
It's just
snaps.
dumb.
What was he even thinking? But even stuff like, you cannot blame the referee. I'm just making a few statements of fact here. We were
the ref. We got some tough. We got some tough calls on the refereeing today.
Offside it late on when it's clearly come off the guy's legs right in front of the referee, and it's an accident offside. I thought Nico was lucky not to go to the bin when the same thing happened just before at the other end there. But each of their tries came straight off the back of ludicrous errors by us. Ronaldo with that unforced error knock on, Trindle with that unforced error kick out of the full, and
what about the Kennedy lost the ball after the Walsh? There was the one where Walsh kicks it, and they said Kennedy lost the ball, and he clearly, like, they challenged it and he knocked it out.
Yeah,
like they clearly got that wrong.
There was, they
I don't understand.
At it. Mam had a hand on the other side, and they had one.
Yeah,
look
it's the one where the hand came through
and
the other side.
And it's like, no, sorry. So anyway, we know the NRL's cooked. We know the 6 again rule is there's no scrutiny on it either. There was plenty of Broncos 6 against the first half. You can't blame that though. That we make the NRL look like I suppose a competent, highly effective, well-run organisation, and they're not. And we make the NRL referees look like they're Einstein, because we are. I can't think of maybe 2006 when we blew away a 28 points to 8 lead over the Panthers at home, when that was in the middle of the Dykes and Kamali halves
experiment.
That experiment, that was up there with, that was just a ludicrously poor and dumb display. This one is on par with that, as I think I suppose, were they unforced errors? Yeah, they were. Were there other things where the pressure built and then Hines dropped it? Although, having said that Hines dropped late on, he copped a high shot, and nothing to see here. But you can't blame it on that. It was just, again, poor bench selections, poor bench rotations, guys that are out there gassed, Atkinson not providing anything, and then getting to the point too.
It shows in the second half. Just shows in the second half.
We ended up in defence, maybe 2 sets in the second half, and one of those sets I thought, here we go. And we're lucky not to give, Ramian was lucky not to give away marker, not square penalty in that set. But the rest of the time, it's a fitness thing, an injury thing, an attitude thing. It's all the above, and it's cooked. And I think there goes top 4, and I reckon call it.
Yeah, I think indeed. Andy, let's go through the comments here. So, to your point, Matt leads in the comments saying, I think that was our last chance to push for the top 4. We threw it away. That's certainly right. Gigaplex in the comments did also just basically say all of the stuff that you said, Matty. Katoa's brain explosion, Montala's drop ball, no one around, and Kieran's kick out in the full. Top teams just don't make those dumb errors. Ashley Williams, I'm not going to read that one out, but you can see it. Toilet Inspector in the comments. Good to see you, mate. Just classic Sharks. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Let's go through this comment from Anthony. What spin Fitzgibbon is going to put on this one? Number 11, can't take Hines going missing again. Kennedy take around the effing body. Yeah, Mulatalo. Sorry, geez, Anthony, you're pretty pumped up. Let's just talk to the first bit of that comment there. How does Fitzgibbon respond to this one? I think he's going to continually show his frustration, isn't he?
The most furious I've ever seen him leave a coaching box just then, when they panned him at full time. That's good to see him show some emotion, but I'm sure that because he protects his players, and protects his team, and protects his reputation. And I know that, gosh, if you were in charge of that, if that's why I suppose I'm not an NRL head coach, because I'd go for Ricky Stewart right now. But you can't blame the referees; you blame your performance. But I think
the referees were bad though.
But we were much worse. Whoever is watching, and not that I'm watching right now, please tell us it's not the same old. I thought it was a good game. I thought it was a good hard game, and come on, mate. show some emotion for it, but he's not going to. And we know that. That's it. That's how he operates. And if it's for an end game, sure, but it's getting increasingly more frustrating. And this season, is it's going around in circles in that bowl, and it's about to go down the toilet.
No, definitely so. All right, James Munro in the comments says exactly shocking team selection on the Atkinson thing. Pete Bissett in the comments says to us and asks, what am I missing about Kennedy? Why do you all love him so much? For what I see, he's good backing up an attack, but has bad hands and misses tackles a lot. Not saying he is the reason we lost. Let's spend some time on Will Kennedy. Certainly his support play and backing up play is pretty damn useful and looks good, but he's just one-on-one defense. Once they get through the line, he's not great. I say it a lot. Like, he did drop the ball on the kickoff against the Storm in that semi-final. He's paid to catch those. But where else do we go, Matty? What else have we got?
We've got no one else to put there, and that's
no one else. No one and no one.
He's lucky. So earlier in the year when there was a bit of hype around him, obviously Austin was injured and not putting pressure on him, and Kennedy was making some good attacking runs and joining the back line, and he scored was involved in some spectacular long-range tries, which I suppose has dried up since, defences have sorted themselves out. A couple were against South, a couple against Manly in warm conditions against, I'd say, average sides at the time. South have improved a bit since then. Manly have dropped back a bit since then. The knock on his defence has always been there, especially since the 2022 final series. And today it was shown when the pressure was on, the tackle he made against, I don't know who the hell he was on the for Brisbane, don't care. But missed that, should have taken it. It's came to his hands. It's been hit and miss. He was safe under the high ball for about 4 or 5 weeks, and everyone was talking about how safe he was. Then he started dropping bombs again. So he's a between 6 and a 7.5 out of 10 fullback, and we've got no other options. We just got to continue with that at the moment, and going forward, who knows? So that's Kennedy in a nutshell, really, I suppose. I'm not saying whoever commented, I'm not saying we love him. I've talked. I
don't think we do love Kennedy, do we?
I know. I think there's a few that have maybe vendettas against him. I try to be objective on that. I think Kennedy's kind of
I have a love-hate almost.
Out of
Ben Pomeroy
17 fullbacks in the competition, he's probably, I don't know, 12th or 13th.
12. I think I have a Ben Pomeroy level relationship now almost with Will Kennedy. It'll be tough to emulate that one, but he's Yeah, God, he's pretty tough. Will
just
Kennedy.
Not good enough all around.
Yeah, that's indeed. Slim Brown in the comments. We never stop the offloads. That kills us.
Bang on. The offloads were 9 of 3 in the second half, about midway through. And we had 55% of the ball in the first 10 minutes of the second half, which kind of helped lure a man down. And then as soon as we started doing the old error penalty try maneuver that the Sharks have done so well since 1967, that's how it all just evaporated. And by the time we got the ball in their half, I think that tackled in opposition 20 at one stage was 19-6 in the first half. So that was showing that obviously we're scoring long-range tries, but I think they were papering over some cracks. And in the second half, late on, we had 2 sets on their line, and the rest of the game we didn't really. And we didn't do anything with them. I think on one occasion, maybe we should have got the hands. We spun it with 2 cutout passes, and Cattell ran out of room. And
what can you say? All right, further comments. Sean King says that we are 100 out of 10 dumb. Adelmo agrees. We have the dumbest footballers known to man. Scott Buckley, massive cracks in this team. Stupidity seems to reign supreme at the moment. James Munro's banging on here about saying that if we had this team in the Storm system, we would win the competition. So is that
There's talent there? There's talent there. There is talent there, and I'm not sure whether Ronaldo, let's say, for example, let's use Ronaldo as a case in point. If he's under Bellamy, would he have got away with the stuff that he does? 2.0 in the Discord chat said that, I don't know what Katoa did on halftime was nothing on Ronnie's. Oh, sorry, 2.0. I may be paraphrasing you there because I was comparing to Ronnie. I can name you as an example. He was layering up against South a couple of years ago, got the ball knocked out of his hands. He was against the Bulldogs, no one within about 10 metres of him, somehow in the put down, put his arm into touch, and many others like that. Would that have got by under a Bellamy system? Probably not. Would it have changed his game and stuff a bit? Maybe. I don't know. But that's an example of where standards, I don't know. It's a hard one because I've heard other podcasts talk about if you kind of like caging a bird, I suppose, caging Ronaldo or caging his personality would he achieve as much as he has? I don't know, but I think that there's talent there, and it's just frustrating when you see these talented players continue to make poor choices, and there seems to be no repercussion and no fixing of the problem. We're 4 years in, 3.5 years into Fitzy's tenure, and these guys are making the same errors under John Morris prior to that, and we've seen no change. And that's the frustration, I suppose. We're waiting, kept getting told, wait until they hit 100 games, wait until they hit 150 games. Well, we're here.
They're at 100,
and there's
Nicara.
still there's still middle of the road players that have an occasional,
here's the thing, Matty. They're just a slightly above average team with some good discipline with Fitzy. We're just not a premiership winning team. And that's just Scott Butley's saying we're not even close to a top 8 team. I think we are a top 8 team.
At the moment. Don't know. Broncos
Leone Latino in the comments is channeling her inner what's that movie? Lethal Weapon. I'm too old for this shit, Riggs. Is it Riggs? What's the guy's name in that movie?
No, I can't remember.
Mel Gibson. Danny Glover?
Yeah. It was a good ride on the Gold Coast, Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, that's true. Adelmo says, don't forget the 4 Ramian penalties error in the space of 2 minutes. God.
Jesse has just reverted to whatever it was, 2021 Jesse, when it was just, Anyway.
Yeah, this is true. Danny Lee in the comments. Fitzy is a myth. Danny Lee, I think you need to come out of retirement, Danny. I'm not sure if you're the same Danny that I'm thinking of, but you would certainly help. James Munro, Fitzy should be furious with himself. Joke of a coaching performance.
It comes back to the bench rotation.
It comes back to the bench and the bench rotation, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep. And what Burns there as 18th man would have been way more helpful wherever you put him.
I thought Hoepa looked pretty good.
However, he's great, and that's been the chat. And look,
I think he looked all right.
Rubber, and he
the catch in
before one of the tries. People have been talking about Hoepa for a while. I think you'd 4 falls on the bench unless there's that lingering, I don't know, injury issue.
So, Matty,
you got Telekai there. I don't know. It's the same deal. It's the same SH1T going around and around and around.
Matty, does it not prove the selection of Hoepa and how well he played? Why didn't he do that 6-8 weeks ago?
Because he's got this tendency, he's got this need, the only outlier being the Parramatta game, he's got this need to carry Atkinson on the bench for whatever reason. So either Fitzy thinks that Atkinson is doing a job when he comes on in the middle and is shoring things up, which we can all see that he's not compared to those that are dedicated forwards. Or he needs it because he thinks we've got to try and keep our opportunity for taking the 2 points alive if someone gets injured in the halves or the backs, which is Atkinson providing that? I don't know. I don't know. Just
Jimmy Russell made his comment. I still don't get why Atkinson is consistently on the bench. The only thing I can think is there is just in case when it's obviously not working. It's just not the percentage play. Like you play Atkinson in a finals match if you're pretty sure you're going to win and you want that just in case moment, so you just don't get done in. But we're not good enough and stronger than the other teams that we should be carrying anyone else. So, and one of our contemporaries, our hosting mates, is clearly on the Facebook commenting as the podcast, saying Atkinson showing he's useless as a bench option again. Let's get through some of these other comments. Jimmy Russell in the comments saying, can't wait to see the same team next week. But defensively, he's an absolute liability. Craig Gear in the second Brisbane try, every pass was dubious, and the put down from Ezra was laughable. There were a couple of dubious moments in that's for sure. So we'll see how that goes. Was it a try though?
I think it was given a try, and I think that I would have been annoyed if it was taken off us with that put down, but agree with the passes. But it comes back to offloads, and no one was hitting around the ball. Everyone was just falling off them, and I'm not sure what that is because they didn't seem to be that poor last year. So I don't know what's changed, but whether we're all a year older and a year slower. McInnes is looking old as an example.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going through these comments. Scott Latino, officiating was almost as poor as the coaching performance.
Yeah. We've spoken about the refereeing, and there were some doozies in there.
There were heaps of doozies in there, mate. What about the kickoff where we clearly where we kicked it short and Brisbane clearly knocked it forward. There was that one.
Yeah, that offside. There was that one. There was the high hit on Nico. There was the
It was a high hit on Nico.
Yeah, late on. Everyone was talking about, and even
Yeah, it was a high.
Even referred to it. I think if I said, Nico went low and he went high, no talk at all. And Nico was screaming at the referee, going, "Where's the high shot?" And that play on, but it wasn't going to change anything. It was going to give us false hope at the end anyway.
What do you think of the playing for the penalty try? I thought he did actually knock him over because he got him with his legs.
Well, the point is he got to the line and stopped, and you can't do that. Nico was terrible in playing for it that way. Chris Kelly in our private chat had mentioned that Nico was taken out too. I didn't see that, but I was too furious to even, I suppose, wind back and look at a replay. But the fact that the entire team stopped, that's a Mitch Moses level of play there that he did against us a few years ago. And that is under 6 BS. That is just indefensible. If Fitz doesn't tear strips off them, far out. Like it's
they were going to score though because they got the advantage of going through the line. It didn't matter. Yeah,
well, if you cut them down, then you don't get the penalty, right? But still, it's just. And I think Nico went to push off the guy. He stopped the line. Nico went to push off the guy fell over. If it went the other way though, and this is pretty Sharks glasses on, it would have been a penalty every day of the week. So anyway,
no, the rugby league gods are where we sit on the referee hierarchy.
Correct.
We got done in. We did get some dud calls today.
Yeah.
And there wasn't. Then the thing is, Matty, you can say, we lost anyway. The 6-point margin. The margins in these matches are very fine.
Margins,
so we have one moment. See, and Katoa also getting sin bin was a tough call. And so whilst it was 50-50, it was
it was a sin bin. It was a sin. I mean, he wasn't going to make a break, but I suppose I'm surprised Nico wasn't sin bin for that offside there because he was accidental offside, or sorry, it had been deliberate offside. Taking the ball, picked up and scored, it would have been a try from the error. So, and I've seen sin bins like that occur. So we were lucky in that regard. There was another one. Rain was clearly not square and tackled as well. That one wasn't a penalty. So there was a bit of poor refereeing both ways. But gosh, his eyes were painted on with a few things, just a bit like that. Anyway, you can't blame it. And I'm annoyed that I even raised it. Good point, Lats. But we just need to do better, and we didn't. And I'm not sure if it's going to trigger any changes because you can't really. There's not much you can do.
What have we got?
Get rid of Atkinson. You can't really change the fullback. You can't put Nico back there. You can't put Ronaldo back there. I don't know who's in reserve grade. There seems to be no one.
Ison and Dykes are injured, so we got nothing.
Yeah.
What's Walnut Coin going on about here in the comments saying thoughts on everybody put their hands up when the Bronx scored? Oh, we've just covered that, haven't we?
Everyone's stopping.
That's just everyone stopping.
It's not good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, not good enough. I thought he was, not good enough. Melbourne next week. I think we'll see a spirited performance. They'll aim up and they'll lose again.
Yeah. Oh, correct. They'll aim up, and it won't solve them. Well, it will solve the problems maybe briefly, but there'll still be dumb errors. There'll still be error penalty try. There'll still be some mental fragility. There'll still be some throwing of hands in the air. There'll still be Cam McInnes having a settler on the 5th tackle and losing the ball. With basically unforced. Anyway, I'm ranting. Over to you.
What about this one, Jimmy Russell? And don't forget the not square penalty against Calhoun. Yeah. When it was blatant, he was clearly square.
The penalty, so the tackle prior, you could maybe get him for, but that one he was square. And then anyway, Cronk was clearly riding the Broncos home. Carry on about good play, blah blah blah. There was several other calls there too, which I don't want to come back to refereeing again because it's not good enough from the team. It's just the whole thing just not good enough.
Yeah, that's probably right. James Cooper in the comments being asked if be good if AFB had some help. Is he doing it on his own? I thought Rudolph and Ueli were okay today. They just ran out of juice because of the bench.
Yeah, I thought Rudolph was clearly gassed, but when he wasn't gassed after about 5 to 10 minutes, he was okay. But he was also blowing hard after about 5 minutes of the second half. And I was like, what did you do at halftime? Where's your fitness? So maybe it's something he's got to build up, but it's something he's always had throughout his entire career. And I thought BHU looked all right in his first stint and even his second stint, actually. But I suppose the rest of the team in his second stint were up against it. And who then?
Brad Lewis, tough call on Ronaldo for the knock-on, but they let 4 unanswered tries on the back of it. Let's just deal with the first half of Brad Lewis's comment. The Ronaldo knock-on, I thought that was a knock-on.
Yeah, absolutely knock-on. But the unforced one, the indefensible. Let the bomb bounce, and then he's there, and he's too busy looking in Ronnie fashion, looking at his next player. I suppose it happens to a lot of players that they think they've already the ball taken. It's an attention to detail thing, and he dropped it. As simple as that, and they scored straight from it.
Adelmo in the comments, son of Gumasol. Maybe. Did it coincide? Chris ADC in the comments asked, did we start falling apart when Atkinson came on? Too many smalls on the field?
It was already falling apart at that point, but we needed to turn the tide, and it didn't help at all. So I think he came on when we were 28-24 up, so we conceded 2 quick tries, and him being there did not help
At all.
at all.
It just basically added nothing. We would have been better off having a forward who could at least contribute something. What can you say? I'm just going to go through my notes here. I was pleased we got the captain's challenge right at the start. I was worried at the start for that one.
Oh, there was that one. I thought it was a horror challenge and it being all right, but then we challenged again, which again comes down to part of your challenge strategy is you got to take into account the fact that they may well in here have one look at it, or they might not even look at what you're challenging and throw it away. The Broncos, I thought their challenge on halftime that was diabolically bad. Like there's no point in even challenging.
So on that, what Kennedy should have done when it went full time and he knocked the ball back in, he should have ran around the field for his halftime. That's twice I've made that mistake with you today. He should have just ran around the field for as long as he possibly could, because the time after the 40 minutes mark still counts against the Katoa sin bin. So he should have just run around on the field, running backwards and tried to elude getting tackled, which would have been absolutely hilarious. But
would have maybe saved 10 seconds, 20 seconds, but
10, 20, small margins. But, the Sharks were actually pretty good in attack in the first half when they were getting over the top of them. We just weren't any good once we lost the forward dominance. And we lost the forward dominance because it really does come back to the Atkinson pick, doesn't it? Is that all it is?
It does. You lose the forward dominance and that's it. And you're right. You can't have contingency on contingency unless it seems to be that there's this constant fear maybe that I don't know, Hines or Trindle will break down and that's when Atkinson will come on and save the day. But has it happened yet? We've had him come on and I'll put inverted commas, cover in the back line. Hasn't really saved the day. I suppose he was the only person you could put on the wing when we lost Stone Street in the Storm game. Who else would have gone out there? Would he have pushed on an Eero to the wing? Oh no, because we lost Ramian as well. I don't know. I think you've just got to, as you've said, you've come to the conclusion that you just got to play with 4 forwards because that's the only way we're going to win. Our forward pack isn't.
We've got to play with 4 forwards.
We don't have big motors. BH losing Oregon Kafusi, I'd say that Kafusi is what they got the second biggest motor behind, and it still has issues because he was falling off at key times last week as well against the Dragons. But BHU doesn't have big motor. Neither does
Rudolph.
What's his name? Rudolph
or Tom. All right, let's get 2.0 in. I reckon we've given him enough time to cool down. I was going to say, I wonder how long this one was going to go. I was going to make 2.0 wait for for you to jump off, and then he could co-host with me. But I think
I'll sub.
I think we've just got to
rip.
I think we've got to rip the Band-Aid off. Williams 2.0 joining us live from Cronulla, wearing a beanie. It's not that cold, mate. Your instant reaction to that game? I think you got your TV on there. 2.0.
Can I swear? Yeah, hang on. Can I swear or not? My actual reaction, or do you want me PG?
Yeah, no, don't swear.
Diabolical. That second half. Diabolical is the word that comes to mind. Why, in God's name? I mean, NRL.com has Atkinson playing 25 minutes. I think he was on for 5 minutes because he made 4 tackles and made no runs.
Why bother?
What's the point? We've asked this for a couple of months now. What's the game plan when you bring him on? The Melbourne game that Williams brought up, okay, you're waiting for someone to get injured?
Yeah, you're right. And having lose 2 players in your back line, we've proven now throughout this year, and I completely agree with you here, 2.0, we've proven this year that the Atkinson experiment does not work. And we've got other forwards that could be there. We've got Puru, who's been waiting out all year. We've got
it was awesome.
That was amazing.
So Billy Burns was 18th man. We've got I think Tapua was injured at the moment, but we've got Tapua. There are other players there that could step up, and that's the only way this team is going to do it, because you can see it when we lose the form momentum, like anything in rugby league. It's a simple game. You lose the form momentum, it all goes to poo. And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, which is basically what was the turnaround, wasn't it? 2.0, where do we go from here?
William Kennedy, let me just get this off my chest. I thought I could trust him after that first half today. Not a chance. His hands are like freaking, he got grease on them or something. Why does he always come up with one error? You're a fullback. Your hands
One error a game. One error a game, Kennedy.
Oh, he made 2 today.
It was 2 bombs we let bounce too.
Yeah.
2 bombs. Like the one for Ronnie, that was a knockback every day of the single week. But I get it. It wasn't a knock on in.
No, it was close. It was close, but we got every tough call went against us. 2.0. We hardly.
No. We could have defended that if we wanted to.
Yeah.
If we wanted to, we chose not to.
I was looking forward to hoping
Nico got his foot stood on, or he got tripped or something. That's not the defense's problem. He tried to get out of his way. He didn't. We all threw our hands up like absolute sissies and just went, no, it's too hard for us. We're not going to get over and cover for Nico. Fair enough. But what the hell are we doing playing Atkinson in the middle with Pep and Brayley there? Brayley's a great defender. I don't understand. I think Cronk said, we got 3 little lows in the middle. Brayley's one of the best defensive middles in the game.
Yep.
He made 51 tackles today with 2 misses. 2 misses for 51 tackles. I'll take that every day of the week. Atkinson, I don't know what his role was today. It's not his fault. Let's be honest. It's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
It's not. But okay, we got injuries. Is he still in our best 17 if we put Billy Burns in that squad?
Yeah, he's one of our 17 players, 2.0, but that's the point.
He's one of our best 25.
He's not structurally correct in the top 17. We've got no plan for it. It would be
like
like
in the halves, and if he's not on the wing, like when he came in against Melbourne, then what the hell?
And what is he? What have we got? Yeah, what's the point?
There's no point.
Play him as the 18th man, and if we lose a bunch of 3 players, then you use him because you need a faster player, a fitter player, or you're going to have an outside back that's injured. It is just an absolute brain explosion. And I think, is there any reason why our podcast, Tuesday night's thumbnail, shouldn't be just stop playing Atkinson at 14? Just end it. I should just do a video on that.
Fitzy will listen to Fitzy. And I don't know why we keep playing him. He's signed for the Dragons next year. I made a comment earlier in the year that we should just let him go now, before June 30. We can't do that. He won't do that now because we've got all these injuries. And the comment will be, if Nico goes down or if Trindle goes down, well, he hasn't played in those positions all year. He's played wing, he's played centre, he's played through the middle. So he's still going to be rusty. So
I think enough. Well, it's no point playing Daniel Atkinson at fullback for Will Kennedy because it will take him 10 weeks to get any good anyway.
Don't tease me.
What would you do if next week Will Kennedy was all right? Would you drop Will Kennedy next week for Daniel Atkinson?
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's a hard one. I probably wouldn't because Kennedy's played there, but he's good for 2 errors a game, at least, Kennedy at the moment. His defence on that Shabasky try, I think that's who you were referring to, Williams, when they broke through with Reece Walsh.
Correct.
So Nicola can't get this bloke down, like Reece Walsh. And then you go for an 80-kilo fullback or 90-kilo fullback to tackle a dude with those kind of size legs up top. You go up top for the ball. When you're 7 meters out from the line, you go to the legs. His defensive efficiencies are disgraceful. He had a great
first half. Defense was bad today too, 2.0.
Right. The whole second half was defensively, we were terrible. Like, let's be honest, we can't put it on Nicola, and I can't even put it all on William Kennedy. The frustration comes with William Kennedy because your job is to catch the damn ball, scoop up those loose balls.
Oh, the scooping one. The scooping one where Nico put out his hand.
They could have scored another try.
So Nico putting out his hand like that, that's not a percentage play. The Sharks were retrieving that ball then. That was also dumb. Yeah. I don't know why they do that. This whole Nico can't play fullback thing at the moment, I don't get it. Kennedy's got no speed either.
Who's got the better hands out of the two? Figure it out and put them at fullback.
It's a good point.
Magic.
I think Kennedy. It seems to be the way that Nico moves. It seems to be that Kennedy's got like slightly more speed. Like Nico has lost a lot of pace. Not sure how or why,
but he can defend. He can.
Can you imagine if next week
take a couple?
Bitsy Tuesday names Nico Hines at fullback? Can you imagine?
Even if he was to, I don't think he would name it. I think
I'll be honest with you. I'd be happy with it. I'd be happy with anyone named William Kennedy playing fullback at the moment. He got 2 tries handed to him on a platter. What did he do today apart from that?
Nothing. He just backed up, which is what you expect from your fullbacks. And it's not like Ronaldo, Mulatalo, or Stone Street wouldn't be able to do that at fullback either. So,
Stone Street at fullback. Did someone call that a couple of weeks ago and was rebuffed? I believe so, Mr. Williams.
I'm not sure. Sorry, we're having trouble hearing you 2.0. Sorry.
I did rebuff over Stone Street's performance under the high ball this year. I'd love to have Stone Street fit to have that chat, though. When is he due back? That's 2
weeks.
Too long.
Yeah. I think that what summed up the game was the efforts. I'm not sure who it was, but the efforts in the 68th minute, efforts on Reynolds, and he weaseled his way out and then just threw a kind of hail.
That was Nicker again.
And everyone had stopped.
What about Nicker on the? Yeah.
Yeah, and that regardless, even if he put that pass away, it should have been covered, and it just wasn't, and that was that.
There's also the one with Nickera and AFB at the play the ball, where they both weren't really paying attention.
Yeah,
and
early on, that was
the early on one was just laughable as well.
I thought we defended well, and I thought in the first half we defended well, and that's where Williams 2.0 said it with the lost ball from Ronaldo. There, it's like cool, looking forward to the team just holding them out and then getting the ball back and working back downfield. Of course, we didn't. Then the next set we had the ball. Trindle kicked out in the full, tries a torp, goes out in the full, and then we couldn't defend that either. I think that was everyone just stand with our hands in the air and like we just don't care, waiting for the penalty, and then went from there. So I think it comes down to the forwards, comes down to the ruck, and it all goes to poo during that period. And you look at it each game. You look at the game against the Roosters. I suppose they put a few high balls up and got a bit of a lead up, but then ran away with it. But the Warriors game, it was that kind of halftime. It was 12-10, and then it just completely went to poo with the rotations there. Again today, completely went to poo with the rotations, and then waiting for AFB to come back, and he can't carry everyone. And the Dragons game doesn't count. That the second half defensive, the Dragons didn't have the ball. They're a reserve grade team, and they still scored 3 tries in the first half. So that doesn't count as a defensive effort or an effort really at all. I think it was today. There was plenty of opportunities to not turn the ball over, to not make silly unforced errors, to not make poor decisions. And then I suppose as soon as there was a bit of scoreboard pressure, you could tell we looked like we were playing from behind before we even gave the lead up. And then, big moments that just all fell away. So, and then even Bailey right at the end, I think I'd said there 3 points to him, and I'm not taking that away. I'm not giving any other 3-2-1, but he lost the ball too. So, it was there for the team.
Well, we also can't cover for the injury. So Teague Wilton goes off with his thing into the eye, and then Colquhoun plays in the second row for the rest of the match. So then you're down to, and then you're down to 2 forwards on your bench with bloody Daniel Atkinson. So it just doesn't work. And so it just keeps coming back to that. And you remember last season, and we used to see this Sharks teams over the years. I remember distinctly the 1996 Sharks team when Nathan Long and Adam Ritson used to come on and say, yep, okay, we've got bench impact. And you're all right, yep, stuff's going to start happening. We get to this point. And so remember last season, pre-AFB, when we used to have our forwards were about the same as each other, our players would come on, we'd bring on Hamlin Ueli, we'd bring on Rudolph, and we used to, we were giving up 18-point leads and we'd have bench impact. Now it is the complete opposite. And that is the complete opposite because of the structure and the way that we've got working with Daniel Atkins. There is no plan for Dan the Man, and I feel sorry for him. And look, maybe we should stop going on about it, but it's literally just the same thing over and over and over again. So, I don't know. What can you say? Now, Kafusi, he was injured. 2.0, is that right? Was Kafusi injured?
Hamstring.
Kafusi had a hamstring strain or something like that. He's been managing for the last couple of weeks, so they decided to give him a rest this week. But I'll give you some stats. Give us some stats. On the impact, Toby Rudolph had 13 carries for 123 meters. And
Pretty good.
Old mates, what's his name? Hamlin Ueli had 7 carries for 53 meters. So the impact was there. Can you say, hang on, we were dominating at the time, we were up 10-0, he wasn't getting those kind of carries? Possibly. But your job is to come back on when we're struggling and just rip through them.
Yeah.
As soon as Adam came back on, he started making a difference. Cam came back on, started making a difference. Toby came back on at the end, started making a little bit of a difference. If you're not providing that go forward in attack, you're going to get called out. Like Atkinson, as we said, he didn't make a carry the whole game. He just passed it on. He's kind of that like ball playing lock kind of way. Just throw it on to Adam and you look good kind of thing. Where do we go with impact if we've got no impact?
Yeah, but the impact comes from the players, and so if you're playing them for too many minutes or they're knackered, then it's not going to work. Like, Sione Katoa went off. No, but 2.0, Sione Katoa went off for 10 minutes and comes back on, and his first hit up, he was trying to run as hard as he possibly can. So if you can manage the substitutions and the timing correctly, then you can get better impact.
2 points on that. I said in the Discord channel, is this when we put Atkinson on for his 10-minute stint? Put him on the wing because he's played there before. Give Cam.
We should have put Atkinson on the wing, when Katoa went off.
Yeah. Here's another thing. Whilst we're going, and this is probably a silly comment, I've had a couple of beers, I apologise. Adding off the bench for impact because we're not getting any off anyone else apart from Toby at the moment. Do we then start, if Oregon's fit next week, do we put him and Toby on the bench and then get Adam to play 60 straight?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
That's my only thought. That's my only thought that we could get some impact.
Get the halftime break in there. Maybe it's it. You got to look at it. I think the reason why they didn't put Atkinson on was obviously the bench rotation. As always, our flexibility and resilience there is lacking, as we've seen. We just stick to the normal every week, as opposed to reacting and trying to optimize what's happening in the game. And so I think there, I suppose Atkinson replaces McInnes. And I suppose McInnes wasn't due for a break then, so therefore he wouldn't come on, even though he probably would have come on. But
what about Atkinson starting instead of Brayley and playing Brayley for 60 minutes and doing exactly the same strategy as there. And having because I get your point 2.0. I can see you shaking your head there, but I'm just going to say, like you notice in all the sports, like it's not just if you give your players a break, then you get more impact from them. It's the same with Harry Grant. Like at least at 2.0. My point is that's probably not the right answer, but it's a better answer than the current decision making.
The thing I got a problem with is if we didn't start Brayley today, we don't get those 2 tries at the start. His running was incredible at the start in the first 20 minutes.
Well, if you had a better backup.
He wouldn't run because he's not a 9. He doesn't understand when to run. He doesn't understand when to run. He doesn't understand it, mate.
That was when we get good to go forward.
Exactly right.
Flying at the end, but there was nothing you could do because the forwards were getting monstered in the ruck. AFB was showing something, but late on, everyone else was gassed.
And Talakai was gassed in the last 20 as well.
Yeah,
Talakai was, and Talakai's noticeably. Well, he's good. He's good attacking in the centres. He has got the defensive deficiencies. Paul, you're not wrong, but why Andrew Eddinghausen doesn't turn up to the Sharks training and teach him how to freaking defend in the centres? Like, come on, ET, someone get down there. Ricky Latelli, teach him how to bloody tackle.
If we take Talakai's first try away, it's a knockout blow today for Stags. He made him look ordinary every day of the week.
Yeah,
and it was always going to happen.
I said this on the Tuesday night show in my comments. I said I'm worried about Stags.
But Stags is an elite level centre.
He is, but he's got agility, which is something that Talakai doesn't really have. He's got go forward, he's got power, but he doesn't have that little bang off the step.
Dane Gagai is 42, and he did the same thing to Talakai at Shark Park last year. So it's
here we go. Jimmy Russell in the comments is saying we should get Tuku Hautapua. Needs to be on the bench in place of.
Yeah, it'd be good if he wasn't injured.
Yeah.
Yep, and everyone, Scott Buckley agrees with that. All right, 2.0. Give us some sort of bright spot on that match.
Well, I'm going to Melbourne next week.
I might go down to Melbourne next week too, actually. So I'll try and meet up with you down.
We'll have a few beers and we'll discuss the ineptness of the Sharks. Listen, Brayley's running game is something crazy. we look so much more better when he's running from the ruck. I think Nico tried that short ball to Nickera early and it didn't work. And it worked, surprise, surprise, when Brayley ran out of dummy half and drew the markers and gave Nico a little bit more time. Nico put the short ball on the chest, beautiful, off his run. Our attack's not the problem. Our defence is the issue. We can't defend on the line and we can't stop the errors that we make. If we make an error, like Ronaldo's wasn't an error, in my opinion. I love Ronnie to death, but if he makes a mistake, I'll call it out. That was knocked back every day of the week. It was called backwards in Origin. It was called backwards in Origin.
Just catch the ball.
That wasn't called.
Don't drop it to begin with.
Don't drop it to begin with.
People are going to make mistakes. If it was Kennedy, I'd say the same thing. It went backwards. But
have you seen that? So on the drops, right? Like when you watch that, what was it? The wide receiver on Netflix, and they got Justin Jefferson, and they're firing the ball at him, and so he says, "How do I become the top catcher in the NFL?" What is this? And Justin Jefferson looks at one of the other players, and they say, every day they fire the ball at him 200 times. And they've got one of those things with the two tires that are rotating around that shoot the ball really fast. And so Justin Jefferson just says, you know what? I'm going to catch it 220 times a day. And that's how I'm going to become better than everyone else. And you know what Justin Jefferson is? The best catcher in the NFL. So you can't say you can't.
Gloves in the NFL.
Yeah, but he's still better than everyone else. And he's done it by just training hard.
So I'll never give him praise. He also plays for one of the teams in my division, so I'll never give him praise for it. But he is.
Yeah, well, he's very good. He's an absolute animal. All right, well, let's. I was going to wrap up the whole show, Matty. Actually, was my plan.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I was going to wrap up the whole show. I think we've kind of done it to justice. So, Matty Williams, why don't you give us your final say? Do you want to give a 3, 2, 1?
3 for Brayley, and I suppose looking back at it, I'll give it 2 for AFB. And I don't know, 1 for However Puru.
Yeah, I think that's fair. 2.0, quick fire, 3, 2, 1.
3 Brayley, 2 Trindle for the 3 try assists, and 1 for AFB because I think today we figured out who the number 1 prop in the NRL is, and that's Payne Haas. He played on one leg and still got 50 more meters. He had 2 breaks as well. Still had 50 more meters than AFB. So off the back of him, that's where they go for gets from. So I'll stop
fair enough.
Doing number 2, but that's it.
I'm going to say 3 points for you, Hohepa Peru. I think you were the star bright spot of the day. And I'll say, I guess, I don't know, 2 points for Trindle, 1 point for Brayley. I don't know. All right, look, let's wrap it up there, guys. It was a frustrating episode of the ET Stand, the debrief straight after full time. Chris Williams, 2.0, joining us with the ever-present Matthew Williams. What he's forgotten about the Sharks is certainly not worth knowing. We'll be back on Tuesday night with our regular Tuesday night episode at 8:30 p.m. As the Sharks try and bounce back against the Melbourne Storm down in Melbourne. Certainly doesn't get it easier. I'm your host, David Bolderman, for the ET Stand. We'll see you guys next time. Go the Sharks.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.